The boy who left home to find out about the Shivers. Once there was a father who had two sons. The elder one was quick witted and bright and able to deal with anything, but the younger one was so dim that he understood nothing and learned nothing. Everybody who knew them said his father was going to have trouble with that boy. If there was any job that needed doing, it was always the elder son who had to do it. But there was one thing the elder son wouldn't do. If his father asked him to get something as night was falling or when it was completely dark, and if his way took him through the graveyard or some creepy place like that, he'd say, "Oh, no, father, I won't go there. It gives me the shivers." Or in the evening, when people were sitting around the fire telling stories of ghosts or hauntings, the listeners would sometimes say, "Oh, that gives me the shivers." The younger son used to sit in the corner and listen, but he didn't understand what the shivers were. Everyone says, "It gives me the shivers. It gives me the shivers." I don't know what they're talking about. I haven't got any shivers, and I was listening just as hard as they were. One day his father said to him, "Listen, boy, you're getting big and strong. You're growing up, and it's time you began to earn a living. Look at your brother. He's learned to work hard, and you've learned nothing as far as I can see." "Oh, yes, father," he said, "I'd like to earn a living. I really would. I'd love to learn how to get the shivers. That's something I don't understand at all." His elder brother heard him and laughed. "What a blockhead," he thought. "He'll never come to any good. You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear." The father could only sigh. "Well, it won't do you any harm to find out about the shivers," he said, "but you won't get a living by shivering." A few days later, the sexton dropped in for a chat. The father couldn't help it. He poured out all his worries about the younger son, what a fool he was, how he couldn't learn anything, how he understood nothing at all. "Take this, for example," he said. "When I asked him what he wanted to do for a living, he said he wanted to learn how to get the shivers." "If that's what he wants," said the sexton, "you send him along to me. I'll give him the shivers all right. It's time he was licked into shape." "That's a good idea," said the father, thinking, well, maybe it'll come better from someone else. It'll do the boy good anyway. So the sexton took the boy back to his house and gave him the job of ringing the church bell. Once he'd got the hang of that, the sexton woke him up at midnight one night and told him to go up the church tower and ring the bell. "Now you'll learn what the shivers are," he thought. And while the boy was pulling on his clothes, the sexton crept up the tower ahead of him. The boy reached the belfry, and when he turned around to get hold of the rope, he saw a white figure standing there at the top of the stairs just opposite the sound hole. "Who's that?" he said. The figure didn't speak or move. "You better answer me," shouted the boy. "You got no business up here in the middle of the night." The sexton kept quite still. He was sure the boy would think he was a ghost. The boy shouted again, "I warn you. Answer me, or I'll throw you downstairs. Who are you, and what do you want?" The sexton thought he wouldn't throw me downstairs, I'm sure. And he stood there like a stone, not making a sound. So the boy shouted once more, and still getting no answer, he yelled, "Well, you asked for it, and here it comes," as he rushed at the white figure and shoved him down the stairs. The ghost tumbled all the way down and lay moaning in a heap in the corner. Seeing that there was going to be no more trouble from him, the boy rang the bell as he'd been told and then went back to bed. The sexton's wife had been waiting all this time, and when her husband didn't come back, she started to worry. She went to wake the boy. "Where's my husband?" she said. "Did you see him? He climbed the tower before you did." "Don't know," said the boy. "I never saw him. There was someone in a white sheet standing near the sound hole, and he wouldn't answer and he wouldn't go away, so I thought he was up to no good and I shoved him down the stairs. Go and take a look. He's probably still there. I'd be sorry if it was him. He fell with ever such a thump." The wife ran out and found her husband groaning with the pain of a broken leg. She managed to carry him home, and then she ran screaming and yelling to the boy's father. "You're full of a son," she cried. "You know what he's done? He threw my husband right from the top of the belfry. Poor man's broken his leg, and I wouldn't wonder if half the rest of his bones are in pieces as well. Take the good for nothing wretch out of our house before he brings it down around our ears. I never want to see him again." The father was horrified. He ran to the sexton's house and shook the boy out of his bed. "What the hell are you playing at?" he said. "Desecrating the sexton? The devil must have put you up to it." But, "Father, said the boy. I'm innocent. I had no idea it was a sexton. He was standing there by the sound hole with a white sheet over him. I couldn't tell who it was, and I warned him 3 times. God in heaven, said the father. You bring me nothing but trouble. Get out of my sight, gone. I don't even want to look at you anymore. I'd be glad to, said the boy. Just let me wait till daylight, and I'll go out into the world and leave you alone. I can look for the Shivers, and then I'll have a skill, and I'll be able to earn a living at last. Shivers, indeed. Do what you like, it's all the same to me. Here you are. Here's 50 tailors for you. Take 'em and go out into the wide world, but don't you dare tell anyone where you come from or who your father is. I'd be ashamed. All right, father, yes, I'll do as you wish. If that's all you want me to do, I'll easily remember it. And as soon as morning came, the boy put his 50 tailors in his pocket and set off, saying to himself all the time, I wish I could get the Shivers. If only I could get the Shivers. A man who happened to be going along the same way heard what the boy was saying. They hadn't gone much further when a gallows came in sight. Look, said the man, here's a tip for you. See that gallows? 7 men got married to the rope maker's daughter there, and now they're learning to fly. If you sit down there beneath it and wait till night comes, then you'll get the Shivers all right. Really? Said the boy. It's as easy as that. Well, I'll soon learn in that case. If I get the Shivers before morning, you can have my 50 tailors. Just come back here and see me then. He went to the gallows and sat himself down beneath it and waited for night to fall. He felt cold, so he made himself a fire, but by midnight the wind arose and he couldn't get warm in spite of the blazing logs. The wind pushed the hanged men to and fro so that the bodies jostled against one another, and the boy thought, if I'm freezing down here by the fire, those poor fellows up there must be even colder. He put up a ladder, climbed up and untied them, one after the other, and brought all 7 of them down. Then he put another couple of logs on the fire and arranged the dead men around it to warm themselves. But all they did was sit there quite still, even when their clothes caught fire. Hey, watch out, he said. I'll hang you up again if you're not careful. Of course, the dead men took no notice. They just continued to stare at nothing while their clothes blazed up. This made the boy angry. I told you to be careful, he said. I don't want to catch fire just because you're too lazy to pull your legs out the flames. And he hung them all up again in a row and lay down by his fire and fell asleep. Next morning, he woke up to find the man demanding his 50 tailors. You got the Shivers last night, all right, didn't you? He said. No, said the boy. How could I learn anything from those stupid fellows? They didn't say a word. They just sat there while their trousers caught fire. The man saw there was no chance of getting his 50 tailors, so he threw his hands in the air and left. What a fool, he said to himself. I never met such a dimwit in all my life. The boy went on his way, still muttering to himself, if only I could get the Shivers. If only I could get the Shivers. A carter was walking along behind him, and hearing what he said, caught up with him and asked, Who are you? Don't know, said the boy. Where'd you come from, eh? Don't know. Who's your father, then? I'm not allowed to say. And what are you muttering to yourself all the time? Oh, said the boy, I want to get the Shivers, but no one can teach me how. You're a poor simpleton, said the carter. Step along with me, and I'll see that you can find a place to stay at least. The boy went along with him, and that evening they came to an inn where they decided to stay the night. As they went into the parlor, the boy said again, If only I could get the Shivers. If only I could get the Shivers. The innkeeper heard what he said and laughed, saying, If that's what you want, you're in luck. There's a chance for you, very close to here. Shh, said the innkeeper's wife. Don't talk about that. Think of all those poor fellows who lost their lives. It would be such a pity if this young man's lovely eyes never saw the light of day again. But I want to get the Shivers, said the boy. That's why I left home. What did you mean? What's the chance you talked about? Where is it? He wouldn't stop pestering until the innkeeper told him that there was a haunted castle nearby where anyone who wanted to learn about the Shivers could do so easily, if only he managed to keep watch there for 3 nights. The king promised that whoever does that can have his daughter in marriage, he said, and I swear the princess is the most beautiful girl who ever lived. What's more, there are heaps of treasure in the castle, guarded by evil spirits. You can have the treasure too if you stay there for 3 nights. There's enough to make anyone rich. Plenty of young men have gone up there and tried, but no one's come out again. Next morning, the boy went to the king and said, "If you let me, I'll stay 3 nights in the haunted castle." The king eyed him and liked the look of him, so he said, "I'll let you take 3 things into the castle with you, but they must be things that aren't alive." The boy said, "In that case, I'd like to take things to make a fire with, a lathe, and a wood carver's bench with a knife." The king ordered that all these things should be taken to the castle during daylight. When night fell, the boy went inside and lit a bright fire in one of the rooms, dragged the wood carver's bench and knife beside it, and sat down at the lathe. "Oh, if only I could get the shivers," he said. "But this place don't look very promising either." When it was nearly midnight, he stirred the fire up. He was just blowing on it when he heard voices from a corner of the room. "Meow, meow, we're so cold," they said. "What are you yelling about?" he said over his shoulder. "If you're cold, come and sit down by the fire." Next moment, 2 huge black cats leaped out of the shadows and sat on either side of him, staring at him with their cold red eyes. "Fancy a game of cards?" they said. "Why not?" he replied. "But let me see your claws first." So they stretched out their paws. "Good God," he said, "what long nails you've got. I'll have to trim them before we start to play." And he seized the cats by their necks, lifted them up to the wood carver's bench, and tightened the vise around their paws. "I don't like the look of these at all," he said. "They put me right off the idea of playing cards." And he struck them both dead and threw them into the moat. He had just sat down again when from every corner of the room there came black cats and black dogs, each of them wearing a red-hot collar with a red-hot chain. They piled in from every direction until he couldn't move. They howled, they barked, they shrieked horribly, they jumped into the fire and scattered the burning logs in all directions. He watched curiously for a minute or two, but finally he lost patience. Seizing his knife, he cried, "Out with you, you scoundrels!" And he hacked away merrily. Some of them killed, and the others ran away. When all the live ones had fled, he threw the dead ones into the moat and came back inside to warm up. But his eyes wouldn't stay open, so he went to the large bed in the corner of the room. "This looks comfortable," he thought, "just the job." But as soon as he lay down, the bed began to move. It trundled to the door, which flew open, and then rolled all the way through the castle, gathering speed as it went. "Not bad," he said, "but let's go faster still." And on it rolled, as though drawn by 6 fine horses, along the corridors, up the stairs, and down again, until suddenly, hop! It turned upside down, trapping him underneath. It lay on him like a mountain. But he threw off the blankets and the pillows and clambered out. "I've finished with the bed now," he called out. "If anyone else wants it, they can have it." And he lay down by his fire and went peacefully to sleep. When the king came in the morning, he found him lying there and said, "Oh, that's a pity. The ghosts have killed him. Such a handsome young man, too." The boy heard him and got up at once. "They haven't killed me yet, your majesty," he said. "Oh, you're alive," said the king. "Well, I'm glad to see it. How'd you get on?" "Very well, thanks," said the boy. "1 night down, 2 more to go." He went back to the inn. The innkeeper was astonished. "You're alive. I thought I'd never see you again. Did you get the shivers?" "Nope, not once. I hope someone can give me the shivers tonight." The second night, he went up to the castle, lit his fire, and sat down again. "Oh," he said, "I wish someone could give me the shivers." As midnight approached, he heard a commotion up in the chimney. Banging and shouting, scuffling and screaming, and finally, with a loud yell, the lower half of a man fell down into the fireplace. "What are you doing?" said the boy. "Where's your other half?" But the half man, not having eyes or ears, couldn't hear him or see where anything was, and it ran around the room, knocking into things and falling over and scrambling up again. Then there was more noise from the chimney, and in a cloud of soot, the missing top half fell down and scrambled away from the fire. "Not hot enough for you," said the boy. "Legs! Legs this way! Over here!" called the top half, but the bottom half couldn't hear and kept on blundering around till the boy grabbed him round the knees and hung on. The top half leaped on board, and they became one man again at once. He was hideous. He sat down on the boy's bench next to the fire and wouldn't give way, so the boy knocked him off and sat down himself. Then there was yet more commotion, and half a dozen dead men fell down the chimney, one after the other. They had 9 thigh bones and 2 skulls with them and set up to play skittles. Can I play too? Asked the boy. Well, you got any money? Plenty, he said, but your bowling balls ain't round enough. He took the skulls, put them on the lathe, and turned them till they were round. That's better, he said. Now they'll roll properly. This'll be fun. He played with the dead men for a while and lost some of his money. Finally, at midnight, the clock struck 12, and they all vanished, every one of them. The boy lay down peacefully and went to sleep. Next morning, the king came in to see how he got on. How'd you do this time? He said. I had a game of skittles, said the boy. I lost some money, too. And did you get the shivers? Not a bit of it, he replied. I enjoyed the game, but that was it. If only I could get the shivers. On the third night, he sat down again on his bench by the fire and sighed. Only one night left, he said. I hope this is the night I'll get the shivers. When it was nearly midnight, he heard a heavy tread coming slowly towards the room, and in came 6 huge men carrying a coffin. Oh, so someone's dead? The boy said. I expect it's my cousin. He died a few days ago. He whistled and beckoned, saying, Come on out, cousin. Come and say hello. The 6 men put the coffin down and walked out. The boy opened the lid and looked at the dead man lying inside. He felt the dead face, but of course it was as cold as ice. Never mind, he said. I'll warm you up. He warmed his hands by the fire and held them to the dead man's cheeks, but the face stayed cold. Then he took the body out, laid it by the fire with the dead man's head on his lap, and rubbed his arms to get the circulation going. That didn't work either. I know, he said. When 2 people lie together, they warm each other up. I'll take you to the bed with me, that's what I'll do. So he put the dead man in his bed and got in beside him, pulling the covers over them both. After a few minutes, the dead man began to move. That's it, said the boy to encourage him. Come on, cousin, you're nearly alive again. But the dead man suddenly sat up and roared out, Who are you, eh? I'll strangle you, you dirty devil. And he reached for the boy's neck, but the boy was too quick for him, and after a struggle, he soon had him back in his coffin. Fine thanks I get from you, he said, banging in the nails to keep the lid down. As soon as the lid was fixed, the 6 men appeared again. They picked up the coffin and carried it slowly out. Oh, it's no good, said the boy in despair. I'm never going to learn about the shivers here. As he said that, an old man stepped out of the darkness in the corner of the room. He was even bigger than the men who carried the coffin, and he had a long white beard and eyes that glowed with evil. You miserable worm, he said, you shall soon learn what the shivers are. Tonight, you're going to die. You think so? You'll have to catch me first, said the boy. You won't get away from me, no matter how fast you run. I'm as strong as you are, probably stronger, said the boy. We'll see about that, said the old man. If you turn out to be stronger than me, I'll let you go, but you won't. Now, come along this way. The old man led the boy through the castle, along dark corridors and down dark stairways, till they came to a smithy deep in the bowels of the earth. Now let's see who's stronger, he said, and he took an axe, and with one blow drove an anvil into the ground. I can do better than that, said the boy. He took the axe and struck the other anvil in such a way that it split wide open for a moment, and in that moment the boy seized the old man's beard and wedged it in the anvil. The anvil closed up, and there was the old man caught. I gotcha, said the boy. Now you'll see who's gonna die. And he took an iron bar and beat the old man mercilessly, raining blows on him till he whimpered and moaned and cried, All right, stop, I give in. As he promised to give the boy great riches, if only he'd let him go. The boy twisted the axe in the crack and released his beard, and the old man led him to another cellar, deep under the castle, and showed him 3 chests full of gold. One of these is for the poor, he explained. One is for the king, and the third is yours. At that moment, midnight struck, and the old man disappeared, leaving the boy in the dark. Well, so much for that, he said. I can find my own way back. Groping along the walls, he made his way back to the bedroom and fell asleep by the fire. In the morning, The king came in. "You must have learned how to shudder by now," he said. "Nah," said the boy. "I wonder what they can be, these shivers. I lay down with my dead cousin, and then an old man with a long beard came and showed me some treasure, but no one showed me how to shiver." They brought the gold up and shared it out, and then the boy and the princess were married. In due course, he inherited the kingdom. But no matter how much he loved his wife or how happy he was, the young king kept on saying, "If only I could get the shivers. If only I knew what it meant to get the shivers." In the end, it got on the young queen's nerves. She told her chambermaid, who said, "Leave it to me, your majesty. I'll give him the shivers all right." The maid went down to the brook and caught a bucket full of minnows. That night, when the young king was sleeping, the maid told the queen to pull the covers off and pour the bucket over him. So that was what she did. The young king felt first the cold water and then the little fish wriggling and flipping about all over him. "Ah! Ah!" he cried. "Oh, what's making me shiver? Oh, yes, I'm shivering. I got the shivers at last. Bless you, dear wife. You did what no one else could do. I've got the shivers." The end.